Chapter 35:11. These words sounded like encouragement. But the underlying meaning was obviously a threat to Pei Sheng. If Yi Qing Luo still didn't give him this city lord face, then he would interfere in this auction. Pei Sheng's face turned green and white. His hands, which were hanging by his sides, tightly gripped his robe. His face was filled with anger as he stared angrily at City Lord Lu. That black pupils overflowed with anger, as though it was accusing City Lord Lu's shamelessness. Facing Pei Sheng's gaze, City Lord Lu's heart didn't waver at all. His lips still had a refined and elegant smile. In this case, City Lord wants to help the Treasures Exchange Hall to obtain the honor of the best exchange hall in the auction? Yi Qing Luo patted Pei Sheng's shoulder as she stood in front of him, meeting City Lord Lu's gaze. Her lips curled into a faint smile. Her long and narrow eyes, in between the faint smile, were sparkling with radiance. It was impossible to tell what she was thinking from her face and expression. City Lord Lu's brows twitched. Best exchange hall's honor? Yi Qing Luo smiled. Don't tell me City Lord Lu and Boss Pei didn't mean that? City Lord Lu's expression changed. He was obviously talking about protecting the Treasures Exchange Hall's reputation. As long as this year's auction didn't end up at the bottom, the Treasures Exchange Hall's reputation could be protected. When did he say that he wanted to help the Treasures Exchange Hall to obtain the honor of the best exchange hall? That honor was the most glorious honor in the entire exchange hall, competing on the exchange hall which had the most transactions in the auction. The Treasures Exchange Hall hadn't opened for business in the past 5 years. And to obtain the honor of the best exchange hall? What kind of joke was that? Is City Lord so insincere? Or should I say, City Lord isn't sincere in helping the Treasures Exchange Hall? Yi Qing Luo saw that he didn't say a word and asked with a smile. City Lord Lu's brows creased even tighter. He vaguely felt that the young lady's words must have dug some pit and was waiting for him. But he thought about it carefully several times. He didn't think of anything. The deeper meaning in the young lady's words. He hesitated for a moment before answering. Since you and the seniors from the Hell Palace were able to attend the banquet to welcome the mystic fairy of Without Embroiling City, you can be considered a part of Without Embroiling City. As long as Miss says it, I will do my best to do it. He also did not directly say that he would definitely help Treasure Gathering Club win the honor of the best trading house. Instead, he extended an olive branch once again while testing the waters. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled upwards as she gave an exceptionally radiant smile. That pair of curved and enchanting eyes curved into a demonic arc. City Lord Lu's heart skipped a beat. He heard the girl's clear and melodious voice, which seemed to be right in front of him. I thought that the City Lord was wholeheartedly standing on the side of the Empyrean Fairy. I didn't expect that the City Lord would try his best to help me, even though you know that the relationship between me and the Empyrean Fairy is not friendly. Isn't the City Lord afraid of disappointing the Empyrean Fairy? City Lord Lu's gentle smile froze on his face. His pupils constricted as he turned around to look at Xiao Yulu. Xiao Yulu's face was gloomy, and her beautiful eyes were filled with a bone-chilling ruthlessness. His eyes were overflowing with hostility. Like two sharp blades, fiercely pierced into City Lord Lu's body. Even though it was covered with a veil, City Lord Lu could clearly see how distorted Xiao Yulu's contour under the veil was. Damn it. Chapter 35:12. City Lord Lu's forehead was filled with cold sweat. Xiao Yulu had totally treated Yi Qing Luo as her nemesis. Towards everything that was related to Yi Qing Luo, Xiao Yulu couldn't stand it. Especially when it was about to close down, but still dared to stand out and slap her face in front of Without Embroiling City citizens. Xiao Yulu couldn't wait for the Treasures Exchange to disappear completely from this auction. He actually wanted to regain his face from Yi Qing Luo. Going against Xiao Yulu's wishes. And still wanted to help the Treasures Exchange? Wasn't this a slap on Xiao Yulu's face? His back turned cold as his face congealed as he straightened his back and shouted angrily, "My motive is to protect Without Embroiling City's peace, and harmony is the most important thing in all matters." He paused for a moment and gave a cold snort. since Miss doesn't like me and I can't satisfy Miss's appetite, then I won't force you. City Lord does know his own limits. Yiqing Luo laughed lightly. People who know their limits usually don't die so quickly. City Lord Lu's expression was extremely ugly as he stared angrily at Yiqing Luo. As for Xiao Yulu, she suddenly raised her head and used a pair of vicious eyes to look at Yiqing Luo as her chest heaved up and down violently. These words were what she said when she intentionally humiliated Yiqing Luo. Yiqing Luo was now using these words to rebuke City Lord Lu. It was obvious that she was provoking her. Since this matter has come to an end, then. Can you give way now? Yiqing Luo raised her brows as she asked with a smile which didn't look like a smile. City Lord Lu looked towards Xiao Yulu. Xiao Yulu's gaze was sinister as she gave off a furious aura. City Lord Lu naturally didn't dare to open his mouth to ask for her opinion. After a moment of silence, Yiqing Luo raised her wrist as her slender fingers caressed her chin. Her curved eyes were filled with endless ridicule. Why? I've already given Xiao family's face to let go of your pestering me previously. Your so-called apology, smiling away enmity etc. I don't need it. Saying this, she paused for a moment. Her gaze fell onto City Lord Lu. The deep meaning in her eyes was even more ridiculing. Therefore, in order to get the mystic fairy to give way, I still have to go to the Treasures Exchange Hall and trade with Boss Pei. These words were obviously mocking City Lord Lu. A dignified city lord was actually unable to make any decisions. He still had to look at Xiao Yulu's expression. It was just a face-to-face encounter. Yiqing Luo had already deeply understood City Lord Lu's character. Proud and arrogant, but timid and afraid of trouble. He was afraid that if he offended the Empyrean maiden of without embroiling city, his position as city lord would become unstable. But at the same time, he hated Xiao Yulu for disrespecting him. Yiqing Luo was just a simple hint. Castellan Lu had already imagined a whole bunch of things in his mind. He was even more dissatisfied with Xiao Yulu. Yiqing Luo only wanted to say that she had placed herself in a servile position right from the start. When facing Xiao Yulu, then he would be inferior. It was no wonder that Xiao Yulu looked down on him. City Lord Lu's face turned black. Are you so sure that after the cooperation between you and the Treasures Exchange Hall is successful, it will really help the Treasures Exchange Hall? Yiqing Luo tilted her head. In this way, City Lord is intending to secretly deal with the Treasures Exchange Hall during the auction? She blinked her eyes as her long and thick eyelashes fluttered like a butterfly's wings. It made that young lady's seductive eyes looked even clearer and brighter. Chapter 35:13. Since when did I say that I will interfere with the auction? City Lord Lu retorted sharply. Yiqing Luo's brows rose. Oh? That means to say, City Lord will absolutely not do anything to the Treasures Exchange Hall secretly? I'm not that low class. City Lord Lu's face was steely green. Yiqing Luo's smile widened. That's great, since City Lord is in front of the citizens of Without Wang City, to make this promise. I hope that City Lord will keep your promise and not do anything that will hurt City Lord's prestige because of your personal feelings. City Lord Lu's fists were clenched tightly. The refined smile on his face was extremely stiff. This slut actually dug a pit for him in her words. Yiqing Luo's words were obviously tying him and the Treasures Exchange Hall together. If any accident happened to the Treasures Exchange Hall, no matter if it was his doing or not, this debt would probably be placed on him as the City Lord. In this way, in order to protect the City Lord's prestige and integrity, not only could he not do anything to the Treasures Exchange Hall secretly, he had to try his best to protect the Treasures Exchange Hall and not let others do anything to it. The more he thought about it, the faster City Lord Lu's heart beat. Perhaps even Xiao Yulu would not trust him anymore. This move was really brilliant. It directly cut off all his escape routes. City Lord Lu's eyes were hazy as it flashed past. But on the surface, he still forcefully maintained a smile. That's natural, as long as the treasures exchange hall follows the auction's rules and properly prepare the auction items, nothing else will happen to the treasures exchange hall. Yiqing Luo shrugged her shoulders, who knows? After all, 5 years ago, some bad things happened. Her words, which had a hidden meaning, made the expressions of the few present turn ugly. Pei Xing also raised his head in a daze as his entire body turned stiff. Yiqing Luo's gaze was like a torch as it went past the crowd and stared straight at Zhongqing Exchange Hall's first master. A smile blossomed on his lips, in order for the history from 5 years ago not to repeat itself. I hope City Lord can strengthen the security of the various trading houses, in case those trading houses with ill intentions secretly do something. In the end, it would disgrace City Lord's prestige. First Master's face suddenly turned pale. What are you hinting at? Xiao Yulu couldn't take it anymore as she berated him. Yiqing Luo's smile remained unchanged. Mysterious maiden should be clear about this. Are you that confident that the Treasures Exchange House will be able to obtain the best honor in this auction? Xiao Yulu looked at her coldly. Yiqing Luo nodded with a smile, of course. Looks like you're really confident. Xiao Yulu's slightly cold gaze flickered with light. According to what Miss is saying, if the Treasures Exchange House can't obtain the best honor, then it means that someone has done something in the dark. That City Lord Lu is narrow-minded and can't tolerate the Treasures Exchange House? Yiqing Luo nodded as a matter of course. To be more precise, if treasure gathering doesn't get the best honor, not only will I suspect City Lord Lu, but I will also suspect without embroiling City's mysterious maiden. You. Xiao Yulu's eyes widened. Shameless. Yiqing Luo shook her head smilingly. This is called self-confidence. All right. Very good. Xiao Yulu took a deep breath as she gritted her teeth and stared angrily at Yiqing Luo. Since you're so confident, then let me see where the capital for your confidence lies. She raised her hand and pointed at Yiqing Luo. Let's make a bet, do you dare? Chapter 35:14. A glint flashed past Xiao Yulu's eyes. The best trading house is set by you yourself. You can't go back on your words. Either you don't fight or you must get the best honor. Yiqing Luo tilted her head and looked at Pei Xing. Do you have confidence? Pei Xing was startled, and his heart thumped like a drum. Best trading house? He didn't even dare to think about it. He only wanted to not be at the bottom and only wanted to protect the reputation of the Treasures Exchange Hall. But, when the young lady's smiling eyes looked at him, for some unknown reason, an inexplicable power suddenly surged in his heart. It made his eyes unknowingly become firm. Yes. He heard himself spitting out a sonorous and powerful word. The boiling blood in his chest had not stopped. He could feel the hot blood flowing through his limbs and bones, constantly penetrating through every corner of his body. It made him feel as though he had been reborn. Confidence. Absolute confidence. Or not fight. If he wanted to fight, he must fight to the best. Pei Xing's eyes were shining brightly. Yiqing Luo smiled, her eyes were filled with encouragement. After that, when Yiqing Luo's gaze shifted away and landed on Xiao Yulu, Pei Xing could obviously feel that her aura had undergone an earth-shattering change. It was different from the gentleness when facing him, but an extremely sharp aura. It was on par with Xiao Yulu. How do you want to bet? Yiqing Luo's lips curled as she asked with a faint smile. Xiao Yulu raised her chin as her beautiful eyes were piercingly cold. If the Treasures Exchange Hall is unable to get the best honor, then you lose. Yiqing Luo nodded, no problem. If you lose, the Treasures Exchange Hall will remove its signboard and everyone in the Treasures Exchange Hall will have to leave without embroiling City. Xiao Yulu's voice was ruthless, arrogant and complacent. As for you, let me deal with you, without any complaints, how about that? Yiqing Luo paused slightly. Xiao Yulu was overbearing. Why? Don't dare. Yiqing Luo ignored her as she looked at Pei Xing and asked with a smile, are you willing? Pei Xing looked at the girl in front of him, who could change her aura mode at any time. He pursed his lips and nodded hard. I believe you. Get an accurate answer. Yi Qing Luo smiled as she looked at Xiao Yulu. I agree to your conditions. After she had finished her sentence, the crowd was in an uproar. Xiao Yimian couldn't stand it any longer. He quickly stepped forward and said, Miss, this is just a competition in the auction. Even if it's a bet, you shouldn't be the one betting. Chengmin and the others all had complicated expressions on their faces. Let Xiao Yulu do as she pleases. Anyone could imagine what the consequences would be. Xiao Yulu would absolutely make Yi Qing Luo suffer a fate worse than death. The black-robed man from the underworld palace also strode forward. His terrifying face was filled with a sinister aura. Isn't your tone a little too big? You can do whatever you want to the guests of the underworld palace, but have you asked for the underworld palace's opinion? The black-robed man from the hell sect stepped forward. The atmosphere of the entire scene froze once again. Xiao Yulu looked at the black-robed man with an ugly expression. Biting her lower lip, she said, I've lost the bet. Since she agreed to this bet, she should understand the dangers involved. Her voice paused as she narrowed her beautiful eyes. Or could it be that Senior from the Hell sect feels that she will definitely lose? You dare to question me? The black-robed man who didn't know the ways of the world was interrogated by Xiao Yulu. The murderous intent in his eyes grew thicker. Chapter 35:15. Old Lie. A young lady's clear voice was heard from behind. The black-robed man's action paused as he slowly turned around and looked at the young lady. The black-robed man was none other than the person whom Yi Qing Luo had met in the Hell Palace previously. His name was Old Lie. If she didn't remember wrongly, Old Lie had some prestige in the Hell Palace. She had not expected him to appear in Without Embroiling City. Di Fu. Old Lie had just opened his mouth when he saw Yi Qing Luo's slightly cold gaze. He changed the subject and said, Mississippi. Yi Qing Luo's lips curled up slightly as she smiled faintly. Since this is the bet that I agreed to, it is reasonable for Mysterious Maiden to raise any request. I have no reason to reject. Miss? Old Lie's expression changed as he glanced at Xiao Yulu. Yi Qing Luo smiled at him. I will not lose. Seeing Yi Qing Luo's insistence, Old Lie didn't say anything else. He angrily lowered his hand and stared fiercely at Xiao Yulu. But it wasn't like before, filled with murderous intent. This scene made everyone's heart beat like a drum. They had not expected. That little girl, who looked like a beggar, was actually able to easily persuade the madman of the underworld palace, and even made him obedient. Everyone's gaze towards Yi Qing Luo was filled with astonishment. All right, this is what you agreed to personally. Xiao Yulu saw that Yi Qing Luo had already relented and didn't care what Old Lie's attitude was as she immediately grabbed hold of Yi Qing Luo's words and shouted anxiously. Everyone heard it clearly. You agreed to my request. Yes, I agreed to it personally. Yi Qing Luo raised her brows as her narrow eyes shone with a crafty arc. Then, it's my turn to raise my request. Xiao Yulu's complacent expression froze. The smile on her lips slowly faded. The other citizens' hearts were also beating like drums. The bet was mutual. Princess Yulu's request was too ruthless. Then, that Hell Palace's young lady would definitely not be outdone. Say it. After a moment of silence, Xiao Yulu clenched her teeth as she spat out two words. Yi Qing Luo's slender fingers stroked her chin. He then looked at Pei Sheng and asked, What request do you think I should make? Pei Sheng's entire body was trembling. She was scared, excited, and excited. His voice trembled as he said, I don't know. Miss, whatever you want, I can. Yi Qing Luo breathed out a stream of air, deliberately lengthening it. This caused the atmosphere to become increasingly tense. Even Xiao Yulu's expression became more and more solemn. It was clearly impossible for the treasures gathering house to obtain the honor of the best trading house in the auction. She would never lose this bet. But unfortunately, under the heavy atmosphere created by Yi Qing Luo, the pressure that Xiao Yulu was under was getting greater and greater. Just as his uneasy heart was about to explode, that settled then. Yiqing Luo's voice finally rang. She said, "If treasure gathering wins the best honor, then I'll consider it my win. If I win, I want you, the Empyrean fairy, to kneel down and shout 3 times in front of all the citizens of Without Embroiling City that you're trash." Finishing this sentence, Yiqing Luo didn't say another word. The crowd waited for some time with a dazed expression. Xiao Yulu was also stunned. "That's it?" Chapter 35:16. Xiao Yulu's expression was strange. "Are you sure you only have this request?" Yiqing Luo nodded calmly. "Of course I'm sure. This is merely a bet in the exchange hall. I'm such a beautiful and kind person. Why would I take advantage of the situation to hurt you and make things difficult for you?" Her tone was very calm and there weren't any excess emotions. However, Xiao Yulu understood the meaning behind her words. Especially after the citizens heard Yiqing Luo's words, their gazes were all different as they looked at her. Xiao Yulu's entire face turned black. "What do you mean?" Yiqing Luo blinked and replied innocently, "What can I mean? You." Xiao Yulu clenched her fingers tightly as she gritted her teeth to suppress the anger in her. She would only be at a disadvantage if she were to argue with Yiqing Luo. Damned slut. She actually used this kind of method to embarrass her. Yiqing Luo's words were obviously ridiculing her for taking advantage of the situation to hurt others, not beautiful enough, not kind enough, and a narrow-minded, extremely vicious woman. "Why are you staring at me with such a fierce gaze?" Yiqing Luo blinked her big eyes. Could it be? Mysterious Maiden is not satisfied with my request? Or Mysterious Maiden is afraid of losing? Let's bet, don't regret it. Xiao Yulu gritted her teeth. Yiqing Luo's eyes curved into crescents as she smiled. "I hope you are willing to admit defeat. I'll return the same words to you. Don't ask for help from the Hell Palace by then and refuse to comply with our bet." Xiao Yulu sneered. Yiqing Luo replied, "In front of so many citizens in Without Embroiling City, I believe Mysterious Maiden will not do anything to avoid the bet and do something shameless." Both sides were aggressive, and neither was willing to take a step back. Cough. City Lord Lu looked at Yiqing Luo and then looked at Xiao Yulu as he put on a smiling face. "Since both parties have already set the bet, this City Lord shall be the witness." Xiao Yulu heard that and strode over. "Me too." City Lord Lu took a look at Xiao Yulu as his expression changed slightly, but very quickly he smiled again. "Then this City Lord and Brother Xiao shall be the witness together." Yiqing Luo and Xiao Yulu exchanged glances. "I have no objections." At this moment, because of the aggressive bet between the two of them, this caused more and more citizens to gather around. The citizens that had been scared away by the appearance of the people from the Underworld Palace had all returned. The atmosphere was high. It had already reached this point. There was probably no one who did not know about the bet between the two of them. City Lord Lu seemed to have thought of something. "During the auction, will the seniors of the Underworld Palace also stay behind?" Yiqing Luo didn't reply but looked towards Old Lai. Lao Lai's eyes widened. "Of course I want to accompany the Emperor, to accompany the young lady. I don't want you to bully the guests of the Underworld Palace just because you have more people." City Lord Lu raised his eyebrows in delight. Xiao Yulu, on the other hand, looked a little terrible. City Lord Lu rolled his eyes a few times, thinking about something in his heart. Finally, as if he had made a decision, he smiled and cupped his hands at Old Lai. "During this period of time, why don't the two of you stay at the Lu family? Although my house is small, it has everything you need. I'm sure you'll be satisfied." As soon as he finished speaking, Xiao Yulu released a chill from her body. "City Lord Lu." Her cold voice was laced with suppressed anger. Chapter 35:17. In other words, he was saying, once the Treasures Exchange Hall didn't obtain the honor of the best exchange hall, Yiqing Luo would have no excuse to push the blame onto them. so she couldn't pester endlessly to find an excuse for losing the bet. After hearing City Lord Lu's refined smile and shameless words, Yiqing Luo wanted to give a thumbs up for City Lord Lu's quick-wittedness. After finding out that Old Lai would stay in without embroiling City, she passionately invited her to stay at the Lu family. Then, what if Old Lai didn't intend to stay? City Lord Lu's attitude, would there be a 180-degree change? Wanting to hug Hell Palace's thigh, but unwilling to part with Xiao Yulu's thigh. Still trying to please both sides. Was there a need to be so greedy? Did she treat everyone as fools? Hugging someone's thigh was too obvious, alright? It was easy to offend both sides, alright? As expected, Xiao Yulu's expression turned even uglier. But even if she understood City Lord Lu's true meaning. However, he had to admit that what City Lord Lu had said was reasonable. Xiao Yulu's expression was unfriendly. Then it's decided. But I have another request. Everyone looked at her in unison, waiting for her next sentence. Xiao Yulu's eyes flashed. This auction is a competition between various large exchange halls. I will not interfere in the transactions and auctions of Zhongqing Exchange, then. I have the right to request that the seniors from Hell Palace must not help Treasure's Exchange Hall. When everyone heard that, they all nodded their heads in understanding. Although they didn't approve of Xiao Yulu's action of blocking the other party's way. But they also understood Xiao Yulu's misgivings. Hell Palace was filled with a bunch of unorthodox lunatics who cultivated in evil arts. For so many years, they had been roaming around various places. They would definitely have many rare treasures on them. If the Underworld Palace were to place all these rare items in the Treasure Gathering Hall, Treasure's Exchange Hall might not necessarily lose. After all, to be able to enter the eyes of a bunch of lunatics from Hell Palace, and to be collected by them. Any one of them could make all the cultivators go crazy. Everyone could tell. Xiao Yulu had no intention to let Yiqing Luo off. In order to prevent Hell Palace from interfering, she made use of this bet. Although, the people of Qingmin all believed that the strong were respected, and strength was supreme. But to the Empyrean Fairy of Without Embroiling City, deep in their hearts, they still refused. Everyone could see that. The Empyrean Maiden of Without Embroiling City was extremely arrogant and looked down on everyone else. He was especially narrow-minded. He would do anything to deal with those who angered him. The citizens of the small city were trembling in fear. In the future, if he saw the Empyrean Fairy, it would be better to take a detour. What the F***ck are you talking about? Old Lai exploded. Why can't I cooperate with treasure gathering? Why can't I go to the Treasure's Exchange Hall to bid for things? Could it be that I'm not from the Earth domain? Old Lai was furious. His aura became more and more terrifying. Xiao Yulu looked at Old Lai and slowly took 2 steps back. I am only striving for fairness. Everyone knows that the Hell Palace doesn't lack treasures or crystals. If the Hell Palace were to make a move, wouldn't we be helping the Treasure Gathering Hall to cheat? Lao Lai's eyes widened. Yiqing Luo raised her hand and placed it on Old Lai's shoulder, preventing him from being carried on by Xiao Yulu. Chapter 35:18. Miss. Old Lai really didn't understand. That woman was obviously making things difficult. Why did Imperial Madam still agree to everything? She was the Overlord's wife. Why did she have to suffer such grievances? Yiqing Luo waved her hand, indicating for him to calm down. Then she looked at Xiao Yulu. Hell Palace will absolutely not intervene, and I hope Mysterious Fairy can do it. Xiao family will also not intervene in the competition between the trading houses. Xiao Yulu raised her chin and said proudly, I will wait and see. Then she flicked her sleeves, let's go. After Xiao Yulu turned around and left. The citizens on both sides of the street secretly heaved a sigh of relief. Not knowing why. When facing Xiao Yulu, it was even more hair-raising than facing the people from Hell Palace. This auction will definitely be the most lively one in Without Embroiling City in many years. City Lord Lu said cheerfully to ease the atmosphere. How can it not be lively? Xiao Yinyan looked at City Lord Lu with a slightly sunken face. City Lord Lu is really scheming. To think that a junior would say that he was a schemer in front of all the citizens. City Lord Lu's face immediately turned ugly. Xiao Yinyan's thin lips twitched as he sneered, Treasure Exchange House, which has been at the bottom for 4 consecutive years, competing with Sincerity Exchange House, which has been the best trading house for 4 consecutive years. Just this point alone will create a huge momentum for Without Embroiling City. City Lord Lu should have already calculated in your heart. City Lord Lu was stunned. Xiao Yinyan continued to sneer, the two sides competing, one is Without Embroiling City's mysterious fairy, the other is a guest from Hell Palace, and with the senior from Hell Palace here. This gimmick will attract many citizens to come to Without Embroiling City to participate in the auction. City Lord Lu should have a rough estimate in your heart, right? City Lord Lu hurriedly looked at Old Lai, seeing that there was no change in Old Lai and Yiqing Luo's expressions, he tried his best to calm his tone. Young Master Qiao, the matter of the competition, whether it is a gimmick or not, was decided by Princess Yu Lu and this lady personally, I have never interfered. Moreover, Without Embroiling City can attract the citizens of the other 2 cities. This is beneficial to Without Embroiling City, and beneficial to Qiao family. City Lord Lu paused, then raised his voice and deliberately added a hint of suspicion to his tone. Young Master Qiao, could it be that you don't want the citizens of other cities to come to Without Embroiling City? It's not that I don't want to, but I don't like the way you use others to build support for Without Embroiling City, Xiao Yinyan replied without giving him any face. City Lord Lu's face was extremely dark. Qiao family head didn't want to fall out with the Lu family just yet, so he stepped forward and pulled Xiao Yinyan back. Then, he looked at City Lord Lu and said, Brother Lu, the auction will be held in 5 days. During this time, Without Embroiling City will definitely be bustling. When that time comes, we'll have to rely on you, Brother Lu. As the lord of a city, please take good care of us. Upon hearing this, City Lord Lu's expression became slightly better. But, Brother Lu, there's something I need to discuss with you. Patriarch Xiao pushed his son, pushing him towards Yiqing Luo's direction. Xiao Yinyan staggered a little, but he managed to steady himself when he was still 2 steps away from Yiqing Luo. City Lord Lu seemed to have realized something, and his expression changed. Chapter 35:19. No way. City Lord Lu vehemently objected, in order to prove my fairness, Miss and the Hell Palace's senior staying in the Lu residence is the best choice. Brother Lu, don't misunderstand, I'm doing this because... Before Patriarch Xiao could finish his words, he was firmly interrupted by City Lord Lu, no matter what the reason is, I've already decided on this matter. Being rejected in such a serious manner, Patriarch Xiao's expression didn't look too good. He looked at his son who was standing in a daze in front of Yiqing Luo, with a feeling of resentment towards him for failing to meet his expectations. Following that, he walked over in big strides. He patted his palm on Xiao Yinyan's shoulder, using his eyes to signal. Following that, he stared at Yiqing Luo, young lass, you decide for yourself. Xiao Yinyan frowned, father. Shut up, don't talk. Patriarch Xiao stared at him angrily and looked at Yiqing Luo, young lady, look, you and my boy's age match and you can chat well. Staying in the Qiao family, giving both of you a chance to understand each other, isn't that good? Yiqing Luo. Why did he feel that Patriarch Xiao was matchmaking his son? Father. Xiao Yinyan helplessly called out Patriarch Xiao, as he looked at Yiqing Luo guiltily. Yiqing Luo. Indeed, his feeling wasn't wrong, even Xiao Yinyan himself felt the same. No wonder Patriarch Xiao rushed over. Not standing on Xiao Yulu's side, treating her in various ways, but trying every possible way to bring her back to the Qiao family. He had actually treated her as his future daughter-in-law. Looking at Patriarch Xiao pretending to be serious, but in actual fact his eyes were sparkling. Yiqing Luo secretly broke out in cold sweat. Qiao Yinyan was so outstanding, and his looks were stunning and peerless. Didn't the citizens say that he was the marriage partner of numerous ladies? Why did he only see her for the first time? Patriarch Qiao couldn't wait to bring her back home. Couldn't wait to push his own son into her arms? One must know that her current image was totally a beggar. Was this her biological father? Yiqing Luo coughed lightly. I intend to stay over at the treasure gathering. When she said that, the faces of Patriarch Xiao and City Lord Lu changed. Miss, the treasure gathering has not had any guests for many years. I'm afraid it's extremely shabby. It's better to bring it to the Lu residence. City Lord Lu was anxious. Yiqing Luo waved her hand. To tell the truth, towards you and Mysterious Fairy, I don't trust them at all. It's better to stay at the treasure gathering exchange and keep an eye on them at all times before I can be at ease. City Lord Lu's face was ashen. Patriarch Xiao took a look at City Lord Lu and didn't continue to persuade Yiqing Luo. To be honest, he knew City Lord Lu too well. He also didn't believe that City Lord Lu wouldn't secretly do something. There were seniors from the Underworld Palace, following Yiqing Luo to guard the place. City Lord Lu was still somewhat fearful. Thank you for your kind intentions. Yiqing Luo cupped her hands in greeting and turned around. Boss Pei, please lead the way. Pei Xing stood there in a daze for a long time before he immediately said, Coming. This time, the two of them had a smooth journey. How could it not go smoothly? Behind the two of them stood Old Lai with a strong aura. When everyone saw this, they couldn't help but move to the sides. Treasure Gathering Exchange. Yiqing Luo stood at the entrance of the Treasure Gathering Exchange, looking at this inconspicuous shop in front of her, which totally looked like an invisible shop on the street. Yiqing Luo, in her mind, she recalled the high-class atmosphere and grade of Zhongqing Exchange. Chapter 35-20. Exchange Hall was a place where items were traded and auctioned off. The appearance was especially important. Try asking, you took a treasure and walked to the exchange hall to conduct an auction or trade. It was a splendid and majestic trading house that looked extremely formal. And a shabby-looking trading hall which looked like a black shop. Which trading hall would you choose? Who dared to pass the treasure to a black shop? Looking at Yiqing Luo staring at the treasure-gathering trading hall with a dazed expression. Pei Xing lowered his head in embarrassment as he spoke softly, so sorry. Because for so many years, the trading hall has never had any business. It's all because of my little sister Zishi refining medicinal pills, using her own name to secretly sell them outside. That's why the treasure-gathering trading hall is open daily. The more he spoke, the softer his voice became. His face was filled with an embarrassed expression. Yiqing Luo coughed lightly, realizing that her attitude had hurt Pei Xing's pride. She turned her head sideways. I don't have any intention to despise it, but as an exchange hall, this is indeed too small. Pei Xing was getting more and more embarrassed. The medicinal pills that Zishi refined can only cover our expenses. And the exchange of new items for the treasure-gathering trading hall, so I changed the shop front. And in the end, there's only these. Yiqing Luo lifted her foot and stepped into the main door. This exchange hall was indeed a little too small. The main hall and the inner room added up was probably around 40 over square meters. But from the outside, the treasure-gathering trading hall looked dull and unremarkable. But after walking in, the entire shop was filled with a refreshing fragrance. Yiqing Luo sniffed and knew. This was a kind of fragrance which could relieve fatigue and soothe the emotions of the body and mind. Moreover, the entire place in the exchange hall was clean and tidy. From the inside, it looks like an exchange hall. Yiqing Luo nodded. Pei Xing's hands clenched as he nervously pinched his own hands. I know, this kind of treasure gathering will not make you have any thoughts of cooperating, but please believe me, I will definitely not let you down. He knew that this was his last chance. He must grab hold of this chance firmly. I've already set a bet with Mysterious Maiden because I believe in you. Yiqing Luo smiled. Since I've said it before, I will let the treasures get the honor of the best trading house, then I will definitely do it. Pei Xing nodded vigorously. However, before I work with you, your appearance and whatnot must be modified. Yiqing Luo was saying that as she walked out of the exchange hall. Her pale hand rested on her chin. She raised her head and looked around the trading hall. There were many onlookers around. They were all curious about the treasure exchange hall that had been at the bottom for 4 consecutive years. Without the help of the underworld palace. How were they going to turn things around and compete with the Sincerity Trading House for the honor of being the best trading house? Yiqing Luo pretended that she didn't see anything as she asked Pei Xing, now other than you and your sister, is there anyone else in the treasure house? No, no more. Pei Xing shook his head. Yiqing Luo pursed her lips and pondered for a moment. Then, he said, you said that your little sister knows alchemy? Is it medicine master? Yes. Pei Xing's eyes lit up when he mentioned his little sister. She's a pharmacist. What a talented apothecary. Chapter 35-21. Alchemists wanted to improve and break through. They could only desperately refine medicinal pills to raise their proficiency in order to upgrade their alchemist's level. As for refining medicinal pills, it required a lot of time and energy. Especially the medicinal herbs and herbs. Based on Pei Xing's financial situation, his little sister indeed did not have enough medicinal herbs to raise her proficiency in alchemy. Her innate talent is not bad. Then does she know about medicinal herbs? Yiqing Luo touched her chin. Pei Xing nodded vigorously, yes. The medicinal pills she refined were all picked by herself at the periphery of the West Cliff Mountain. West Cliff Mountain? Old Lai, who had been standing by the side without saying a word, suddenly said, lad, to let your little sister go to the West Cliff Mountain alone for the sake of the exchange hall and the family's livelihood, as her brother, aren't you too useless? Pei Xing's face instantly turned red. He lowered his head and clenched his fists tightly. Yiqing Luo stared at Old Lai. Old Lai was stunned by the stare. The West Cliff Mountain is the most dangerous mountain in Without Embroiling City. Magical beasts and mirage beasts crawl everywhere, and there are a lot of mercenary groups doing missions there. He let a young lady go to the West Cliff Mountain to pick medicinal herbs, isn't this? Bam! Yiqing Luo patted Old Lai's shoulder and whispered, stop talking. Old Lai's mouth moved and stopped his voice. Yiqing Luo looked at Old Lai. Her heart was a little surprised. She really didn't understand why the people from the Hell Palace would help her. Moreover, it seemed that her attitude towards her words was obedient. Was it because they knew she was DMO Xian's wife? They wanted to please her to please DMO Xian? Forget it, forget it. No matter what reason Old Lai had. Anyway, Old Lai was at the treasure gathering. People like the Lu family and Xiao Yulu wouldn't dare to act rashly. Yiqing Luo retracted her vision and looked at Pei Xing, whose face was flushed red, as guilt was spreading. She raised her hand and patted Pei Xing's shoulder lightly. You are all trying to protect the treasure gathering. This is not wrong. If you really feel sorry for your little sister, then make yourself stronger to protect her. Pei Xing's body stiffened as she raised her head to look at her. Yiqing Luo's lips curled as she smiled at him. This time, after obtaining the honor of the best trading house, whether you're able to grab hold of the opportunity to let her live a good life, will depend on you. Pei Xing looked at Yiqing Luo in a daze. There were ripples in his eyes. His eyes gradually reddened. He clenched his fists tightly, and his eyes were resolute. I will. I will. So, call her back now, there are only 5 days left, we have to hurry up. Seeing him pick himself up, Yiqing Luo loosened the hand on his shoulder. Pei Xing nodded, turned around, and ran into the crowd. Taking advantage of this time, Yiqing Luo went to the inner hall of the treasure gathering to tidy herself up. At the back of the inner hall, there were only two extremely narrow bedrooms. One was slightly bigger, and the other was smaller. There was only a wooden bed, and it could only accommodate one person. The room was larger and looked more elegant. This should be Pei Xing's younger sister's room. Yiqing Luo didn't stand on ceremony as she walked straight into the big room. When he saw the bronze mirror on the table, Yiqing Luo finally understood why when those people saw her, they would treat her as a beggar. What the f***ck, wasn't he a little too pathetic? Her hair was like a chicken's nest, stained with mud. Chapter 35-22. Other than a pair of long and narrow eyes, which were extremely eye-catching in the mud and dirt. Messy hair, dirty face, tattered robes stained with all kinds of unknown filth, she looked like a beggar who had gone through hardships. He couldn't be any more embarrassed. Yiqing Luo's current mood was, well, she could no longer use words to describe her feelings. Taking a deep breath, Yiqing Luo asked Old Lai to get a few buckets of water. She took out the bathtub in the corner. Probably because Pei Xing's sister was also a pharmacist. Everything in the room had been disinfected by medicinal herbs. Yiqing Luo sprinkled some medicinal powder into the bathtub and disinfected it once again. She then closed the door and started to wash herself. Yiqing Luo was still puzzled. What on earth was going on? What had happened in the upper realms passage? The minute she opened her eyes, she had become such a ghost. After washing for about 1 incense's time, Yiqing Luo had already changed the water twice. The water in the bathtub finally became clearer. At this moment, light footsteps were heard outside the door and a girl's clear voice was heard, "Miss, I'm Zishi." It was Pei Xing's sister. The girl outside the door continued, "I've prepared a set of clothes for you. Although it was worn by me, but it has been washed very clean and has been deodorized by medicinal herbs. If Miss doesn't mind, you can wear this set of clothes first." The girl's voice was very pleasant and extremely melodious. Yiqing Luo nodded. "Sorry to trouble Mississippi," her words fell. A white fur kitten leaped out of the room. Outside the door, a girl's exclamation was heard. But seeing the kitten biting the clothes in her hands and running towards the room, she heaved a sigh of relief. Yiqing Luo took the clothes from Chi-Chi's mouth. The light purple dress was extremely simple and elegant. Yiqing Luo expressed that Zishi's taste was not bad. But, Yiqing Luo's fingers brushed past the dress on her. A strange look surfaced in her eyes. The material of this dress felt like it was not an ordinary material. It was definitely not a material that Pei Xing's economic condition could afford. Yiqing Luo kept away the deep thoughts in her heart, and after she put on her clothes, she wiped her wet long hair until the ends of her hair were no longer dripping water. She then bent over and carried Chi-Chi. She was about to push the door and walk out. But after thinking about it, she took out a veil from the profound phoenix ring and covered half of her face. Then she walked out of the room. Outside the door stood a delicate and pretty woman. She wore an ice blue dress that was simple and close-fitting, which was very convenient for her movements. Her hair was simple and held in place by a wooden hairpin. The woman was still as beautiful as a butterfly that had spread its wings and was about to take flight. She was extremely intelligent and pretty. Their eyes met, and a sweet smile appeared on the corner of the woman's mouth. "Miss, do the clothes fit you?" Yiqing Luo smiled at her. "It's very fitting, thank you Mississippi." She glanced at the woman imperceptibly. Lady dress was of the material of quality. Of. Big brother is waiting for Miss in the outer hall. Let's go over first. The lady's line of sight was fixed on Chi-Chi, who was in Yiqing Luo's arms. "Is this little kitten your war pet?" Yiqing Luo nodded. "Yes, very cute. Very well behaved. What breed is it?" They chatted as they walked towards the main hall. "Tiger beast, but in cub form." Yi Qing Luo rubbed Chi Chi's head and didn't hide it. Chapter 35-23. After the two of them reached the main hall, Pei Xing heard the voice and immediately raised his head, as he was stunned on the spot. The young lady was dressed in a light purple long dress, her brows were picturesque, a pair of long and narrow eyes were sparkling, as though she was the only light in the world. A head of wet black hair, draped over her shoulders, and a few strands were stuck on her veil, which added a bit of irresistible charm. Although half of the young lady's face was covered by the veil, but from that veil, one could faintly see the silhouette and her arrogant temperament. It made her look like a fairy from the 9 heavens, noble and elegant, unattainable. Even Lao Lai was dumbfounded. He had never seen Yi Qing Luo's real face. The last time at the Hell Palace, he didn't dare to seriously size up the young lady. But today, he had to admit, this young lady and the overlord standing next to each other would absolutely not be inferior. Brother Sheng. The young lady walked to Pei Xing's side, bit her lower lip, and pinched Pei Xing's arm hard. Pei Xing drew in a breath of cold air, as he regained his senses. Realizing that he had lost his composure earlier, he hurriedly apologized, sorry. I'm not. No matter. Yi Qing Luo shook her head, this shows that I have peerless beauty, peerless. Pei Xing. He admitted that she was indeed peerless, but was it really alright to say that about himself? Miss, I heard from Brother Xing about the bet between you and Princess Yu Lu. I'm here to thank you for being willing to help us gather treasures at this time. The young lady patted Pei Xing's arm, indicating for him to take a seat. Then she looked at Yi Qing Luo in a neither servile nor overbearing manner, as her brows were filled with sincere gratitude. As long as we can help to gather treasures, whatever Miss wants to do, Brother Sheng and I will fully cooperate. Yi Qing Luo nodded. Boss Pei has already expressed his gratitude. What we need to do now is to make everyone interested in gathering treasures within 5 days. What does Miss want to do? The young lady expressed her approval. You two don't talk about girls anymore. Old Lai's head started to swell. We still need to interact for a few more days. Don't tell me you intend to have one girl and one girl each? Pei Xing hurriedly stood up, as he frantically pulled the young lady over. Sorry, I forgot to introduce my sister. This is my little sister, Gu Zixi. This is... Pei Xing looked at her younger sister, but when the words were about to come out of her mouth, she pursed them. Till now, he still didn't know Yi Qing Luo's name. Yi Qing Luo stood up, the lips under the veil slightly hooked up. My name is Di Luo, you can call me Ah Luo. Di Luo. Pei Xing muttered. Lady Di, Yi Qing Luo raised her brows as she squinted at him. Gu Zixi, on the other hand, was more understanding. She walked forward with a smile, took her arm and called, Ah Luo. Yi Qing Luo shot a glance at Pei Xing. See that, learn more from your sister. She paused as if she had thought of something. She looked at the two of them in confusion. Wait, isn't your surname Pei? Why is Zixi surnamed Gu? I was picked up by Brother Sheng. We call each other brother and sister, and we depend on each other. Gu Zixi looked very calm. Yi Qing Luo nodded meaningfully. No wonder she felt that there was a different atmosphere between the two of them. They weren't biological siblings. Yi Qing Luo's long and narrow eyes curved slightly. Chapter 35-24. In order to change the topic, Gu Zixi gaze intentionally lingered on Yi Qing Luo's face. Ah Luo, this is the treasures exchange hall. Why do you still need to cover your face with a veil? It's a sin to be too beautiful. Yi Qing Luo put on a serious look, to prevent mysterious maiden from seeing my peerless beauty, from being jealous and doing something rash, that would be terrible. Ah Luo, you're really narcissistic. Gu Zixi was speechless. Yi Qing Luo sighed helplessly. I'm also very helpless about a natural-born beauty. After a few more words of banter, The relationship between the few of them had pulled closer by quite a bit. Regarding to let the Treasures Exchange Hall return to the eyes of the public within 5 days, do you have any thoughts? After pulling closer, Yiqing Luo went straight to the main topic. Pei Xing's gaze instantly turned serious when he mentioned the Treasures Exchange Hall. He looked at Yiqing Luo. You should understand the situation of the Treasures Exchange Hall, basically. The matter 5 years ago had already caused the Treasures Exchange Hall to lose the hearts of the people. To let them choose the Treasures Exchange Hall again, I'm afraid it will be very difficult. Today's matter has already taken the first step, isn't it? Yiqing Luo's lips curled as her gaze shot outside the door. The entrance of the Treasures Exchange Hall was already surrounded by many citizens who were watching the bustle. Discussions were everywhere and it was extremely lively. Although those citizens had not taken a step into the Treasures Exchange Hall. However, when he heard the voices and discussions, he knew that he had already made great progress. After all, the Treasures Exchange Hall had not had such a lively scene for a long time. Today at the entrance of Zhongqing Exchange Hall. Because of Qiao Yulu's relationship, basically most of the citizens had gathered over. And because of the bet, the various citizens had definitely remembered the name of the Treasures Exchange Hall. No matter when, everyone's potential would always be hidden with the nature of gossip. The citizens were filled with curiosity as to how Treasure Gathering had defeated Zhongqing and obtained the honor of being the best trading house. No matter what the citizens are concerned about, as long as the point they are concerned about is the Treasures Exchange Hall, this is considered a success. Yiqing Luo retracted her gaze as she walked to the chair by the side and sat down, placing Qi on her lap. Qi was like a little kitten, lazily curled up on Yiqing Luo's lap, closing her eyes with a contented posture. It really did look like a pet. Gu Zixi gaze lingered on Qi for a moment. Following that, his gaze shifted to Yiqing Luo's face as he asked, but... During the auction, various large trading houses compete on the total number of crystal stones successfully traded during the duration of the auction in order to obtain the honor of the best trading house. She paused for a moment before continuing, under the premise that we can't let the Hell Palace interfere, what items should we auction in the auction to be confident? When Yiqing Luo heard that, she couldn't help but shifted her gaze onto Gu Zixi. To be honest, from the moment they met until now, Yiqing Luo felt that this Gu Zixi totally didn't look like someone who was picked up and brought home, relying on pill refining to maintain the daily business of the treasure gathering. On the contrary, judging from her temperament, her conversation, and her understanding of the matter, it was obvious that she was a good girl. Yiqing Luo felt that this lady was absolutely not simple. At the very least, it was definitely not as simple as Pei Xing said. However, from Gu Zixi, Yiqing Luo didn't sense any malicious intent. Did I say something wrong? Why are you looking at me like that? Gu Zixi felt goosebumps from Yiqing Luo's stare. Chapter 35-25. Gu Zixi. Was there a need to use such a complicated expression to guess her master level? Master level. Under Yiqing Luo's gaze, Gu Zixi revealed her own level. You still can't break through to Grandmaster level? Yiqing Luo's fair fingers pressed against her chin. Gu Zixi shook her head. I'm not used to it yet, I need an opportunity. Yiqing Luo pursed her lips as her eyes drooped in deep thoughts. On the other hand, Pei Xing looked at Yiqing Luo in shock. Very few people could persevere in the profession of master. Not to mention the long time required. It also required a large amount of financial and material resources. Especially when there was a high failure rate. So if a master-level master were to spread it out, there would definitely be numerous forces fighting for it. Pei Xing had always been proud of Gu Zixi as a master. But he didn't expect Yiqing Luo actually despised it. That's right. Despised. That tone was filled with despise. Noticing Pei Xing's agitated emotions, Yiqing Luo glanced over. TSK, was he a protective maniac or was it because of some other reason? I don't have any other meaning by asking this. Yiqing Luo took out a folded piece of paper from the profound phoenix ring and passed it to Gu Zixi. Since you don't have any ideas about what you want to auction in the auction, I have an idea here. Gu Zishi took the paper and opened it. The expression on her face instantly turned serious and solemn. His eyes also gradually lit up. She kept the paper in her hand. Where did you get the formula from? How could there be such a formula? Follow the formula and buy the commonly used medicinal herbs in the most low-profile way. As for the main medicinal herbs, I'll have to trouble you to collect them from the West Cliff Mountain. Yiqing Luo didn't answer the source of the formula. It's best to bring back a batch of medicinal herbs and try to refine a small bottle tomorrow to advertise. Tomorrow? Gu Zishi opened the prescription in her hand and looked at it again. How is that possible? You're in charge of finding the medicinal herbs, I'll do the rest. Yiqing Luo smiled. If tomorrow's advertising is successful, we'll definitely get the best trading house's honor. Gu Zishi was stunned as her pupils enlarged. You're also a master. Yiqing Luo nodded with a smile. Gu Zishi took a deep breath and gripped the prescription in her hand tightly. She didn't ask about Yiqing Luo's alchemist grade. She could tell that Yiqing Luo's level was absolutely above hers. All right, I understand. I will definitely bring back enough medicinal ingredients to make a bottle of it before 11 p.m. today. Gu Zishi put away the recipe. It's very dangerous over at West Cliff Mountain. Let Old Lai go over to protect you. Yiqing Luo looked at Old Lai, who was dozing off by the side. Anyway, he has nothing better to do. Gu Zishi's expression changed slightly. No, there's no need. I'm very familiar with Xia Mountain. Nothing will happen. If you don't let Old Lai follow you, Sheng will worry about you. Yiqing Luo took a look at Pei Sheng. Don't worry, Old Lai won't keep following you around. I have other matters to attend to and would like to trouble him to make a trip to the West Cliff Mountain. Gu Zishi hesitated for a moment. Okay, I understand. The two of them had already decided on the future of the Gathering Treasures exchange. Pei Sheng was a little dazed. Zishi, what exactly is the formula that Luo gave you? Gu Zishi's lively eyes curved, her little body half sprawled on the coffee table, both hands supporting her chin as she looked at Pei Sheng playfully. Chapter 35-26. Pei Sheng couldn't get an answer, so Gu Zishi and Old Lai had already left the treasure gathering. Pei Sheng could only shift his gaze towards Yiqing Luo. Before he could even open his mouth to ask. Yiqing Luo clapped her hands and carried Qi as she stood up. All right, let's start. Start what? Pei Sheng looked at Yiqing Luo in a daze. Yiqing Luo walked straight out of the entrance of the treasure gathering, of course. To transform the treasure gathering. When the young lady walked to the entrance, she even turned her head and looked at him with a smile. As she retreated, she smiled and said, "You're right." Her eyes were filled with a crafty smile. Her veil fluttered like a fairy descending to earth. Even though Pei Sheng had already been stunned by Yiqing Luo. At this moment, he was dazzled by the young lady's smile. Of course, it couldn't be said that he had any evil thoughts towards Yiqing Luo. But, humans were visual animals. All of their reactions were the most instinctive reactions to the visual feast in front of them. When a man dressed in a black robe with an elegant demeanor arrived at the entrance of the treasure-gathering exchange hall, what he saw was this scene. The young lady was dressed in a simple and elegant light purple long dress, which accentuated the young lady's petite figure. The purple dress followed the young lady's footsteps. Like a blooming purple rose, it dyed the entire pupil. Yiqing Luo acutely sensed someone approaching from behind. Her retreating footsteps immediately halted. She could almost smell the scent of the person behind her. After Yiqing Luo halted her footsteps, she speedily turned around and retreated 2 steps. The moment she turned around, the white veil fluttered with the wind, faintly revealing half of her smooth lower jaw. The contour was soft and beautiful, her lips pink and tender. The man stood there in a daze, his eyes fixated on Yiqing Luo, not moving for a long time. After Yiqing Luo retreated a few steps, she saw the man's face clearly. Her pink lips pursed. Eldest young master Qiao. This man, wasn't he Qiao Yinyan? Pei Xing also saw Qiao Yinyan and hurriedly ran out from the treasure-gathering exchange hall. Eldest young master Qiao, why are you here? Hearing Pei Xing's male voice, Qiao Yinyan's eyes, which were staring at Yi Qing Luo without blinking, finally had some fluctuations. His eyelashes trembled. Miss, is eldest young master Qiao here on behalf of mysterious fairy to test if treasure gathering has the ability to gain glory in the auction? Yi Qing Luo asked with a smile. Qiao Yinyan's handsome face immediately tensed up. No. I'm definitely not helping Princess Yulu's search for the treasure. He lowered his head in embarrassment. I want to help. Looking at Qiao Yinyan's anxious expression, Yi Qing Luo couldn't help but laugh out loud. I'm just joking. In front of Qiao Yulu, Qiao Yinyan had never spoken up for her. Of course, it was impossible for him to help Qiao Yulu and come over to investigate the situation of the treasure gathering. Furthermore, everyone in Without Embroiling City knew what the treasures gathering hall looked like. There was no need to probe the situation at all. However, from what she could see, Qiao Yulu would definitely send someone to investigate her identity. Looked like she needed Old Lie's help to get her an identity in the Hell Palace. Although I've made a verbal promise with Mysterious Fairy that I will absolutely not allow anyone from the Hell Palace to help, but I don't swindle any treasures from eldest young Master Qiao and put it up for auction, just to let eldest young Master Qiao use some physical strength, so it shouldn't be against the rules, right? Yi Qing Luo looked at Qiao Yinyan smilingly. In her long and narrow eyes, there was an obvious teasing smile. Chapter 35-27. However, Qiao Yinyan still agreed without hesitation. Yi Qing Luo brought the two of them and started to discuss the exterior design of the treasure house. If they wanted to renovate it, there was not enough time. So they could only choose to fiddle with the small details, making some changes, to make the treasure exchange hall not look so shabby, not like an unlicensed black shop. The entire afternoon, until evening, Yi Qing Luo and the other two were busy. More and more citizens came over to watch. But they didn't disturb the three of them. Yi Qing Luo didn't bother about them. To tell the truth, it wasn't a bad thing to have the citizens watching. This was a bunch of free publicity staff. And Gu Zixi and Old Lie had not returned yet. They were busy all the way till 9 o'clock, which was around 9 o'clock at night, when Yi Qing Luo called for the two of them to stop and rest. Pei Xing and Xiao Yinyan were sweating profusely as they slumped on the chair, panting heavily. For the entire day, they were indeed doing physical labor. He wasn't carrying them around, but leaping onto roofs and vaulting over walls, installing this and that, and using profound energy to turn into a blade, chopping firewood, chopping wood, carving various exquisite designs. When the citizens saw this scene, their hearts were bleeding. One must know, Qiao Yinyan was a talented youngster in Without Embroiling City. He had never made a move easily. Now, he was reduced to using profound energy, chopping firewood, chopping wood, carving flowers. This was simply a waste of God's gift. The key was their eldest young master Qiao was doing these degrading things, yet he was doing it happily. The citizens, could it be that their eldest young master Qiao had taken a liking to this mysterious and arrogant young lady? In the treasure exchange hall, Yi Qing Luo saw their exhausted looks and went into the inner room to prepare a meal for them. He saw Yi Qing Luo's figure disappearing at the door. Pei Xing raised his hand and wiped off the sweat on his forehead. But his peripheral vision kept glancing at Xiao Yinyan. Xiao Yinyan's perception was high, so he naturally felt the gaze which was constantly shooting over. He drank a cup of tea and met Pei Xing's gaze. Why does Brother Pei keep looking at me? I want to ask you a question. Pei Xing put down his hand, turned his body, and looked at him seriously. Brother Pei, please ask away. Xiao Yinyan put down his teacup. His slender fingers had distinct joints, which made him look very attractive. Pei Xing's lips twitched as he stared at Xiao Yinyan for a long time. Finally, he stammered, "That. Did you? Ah Luo, brother Pei likes Ah Luo?" Xiao Yinyan's eyes were filled with a smile. He leaned forward slightly and looked into Pei Xing's eyes. He leaned forward. Some of Xiao Yinyan's silver hair fell to the ground. His handsome face was even more incomparably handsome. Pei Xing's cheeks immediately turned red. It was unknown whether it was because of Xiao Yinyan's words or because of Xiao Yinyan's handsome appearance. I don't have that kind of feeling for Ah Luo. He shook his head and explained with a red face, "Ah Luo is my benefactor. I am very grateful to Ah Luo." Xiao Yinyan narrowed his eyes and leaned back in his chair. He didn't answer Pei Xing's question. Although Pei Xing was shy, she did not forget her purpose. She looked at him and asked again, "What about you? Do you like Ah Luo?" Xiao Yinyan only curled his thin lips as he smiled but didn't reply. Was this like, or not like? Towards this kind of emotion, Pei Xing didn't know how to differentiate. Chapter 35-28. At this time, there was a hubbub outside the entrance of the Treasures Exchange Hall. Since today's bet. Outside the Treasures Exchange Hall, there had been endless discussions and noises. But the hubbub this time was obviously not small. Xiao Yinyan frowned and was about to get up. Pei Xing had already stood up. "You continue to rest, I'll go take a look." As he said this, he walked out of the Treasures Exchange Hall. Outside the Treasures Exchange Hall, the citizens who were originally gathered together had now split into two sides. And standing in the middle of the citizens was Xiao Yulu, who was like the moon surrounded by stars. The woman's petite figure was no longer as graceful and luxurious as before, but was dressed like the daughter of an aristocratic family. She wore a white dress, a white veil covering her face, and her temperament was like an orchid. Just looking at her like this, she was indeed an extremely pleasing beauty. At this time, Xiao Yulu was staring at the Treasures Exchange Hall with an ugly expression. After a few hours of busywork by the three of them, the outer appearance of the Treasures Gathering Hall had undergone a tremendous change from its previous appearance that was gray and inconspicuous, like an illegal shop that operated without a license. Xiao Yulu's white fingers clenched tightly into fists. The Treasures Exchange Hall in front of them, although it was very small. But no matter which corner, which line of sight looked over, they all felt, this was an extremely grand and high-class Treasures Exchange Hall. The surroundings of the Treasures Exchange Hall, after some detailed treatment, as well as some exquisite decorations, had completely changed the overall aura of the Treasures Exchange Hall. Especially on the two sides of the Treasures Exchange Hall, there were two extremely beautiful beast-shaped stone statues, looking like Qilins. Under the illumination of the two red lanterns hanging above the entrance, the stone statues seemed to be plated with a layer of bright glazed light. It could be said that the current Treasures Exchange Hall, in terms of appearance, it was definitely not inferior to the Sincerity Exchange Hall. Sister Yulu. Yu Jiwen, who was at the side, stared at the Treasures Exchange Hall with an unfriendly expression, a sense of danger surging in her heart. Xiao Yulu's expression was dark, her sharp gaze shooting straight at Pei Xing, who had walked out of the Treasures Exchange Hall. She raised her hand, and an invisible force shot straight at Pei Xing's face. That strength was extremely ruthless. And there was no mercy at all. Pei Xing's eyes widened, completely not expecting Xiao Yulu to suddenly attack. He was so shocked that he wanted to avoid it. However, Xiao Yulu's profound rank was above him, and her attacks were swift and fierce. He had no time to dodge. Bang! The sharp blade sliced through the air and emitted an explosive sound. Pei Xing's tightly shut eyes suddenly opened. His face was filled with shock. He's okay? Pei Xing didn't feel any pain. He raised his head and saw that a figure had appeared in front of him. Her silver hair fluttered gently in the wind. His black robe spread out like ink. Brother Qiao. Pei Sheng was shocked, and his voice trembled slightly. How did you? It was Xiao Yinyan who had rushed in front of him and blocked Xiao Yulu's attack. Big brother. When Xiao Yulu saw that the person who blocked her attack was Xiao Yinyan, her expression darkened even more. You're really here? Xiao Yinyan frowned. What are you doing here? Treasure gathering violated the bet between me and that bitch. Xiao Yulu said coldly, as the boss of treasure gathering, he must be punished. Xiao Yinyan raised his hand and blocked in front of Pei Sheng. What nonsense are you talking about? I've been in the treasures exchange hall all this time. How come I don't know what bet treasure gathering violated? Chapter 35-29. Big brother, do you still think of this consort as your little sister? Xiao Yulu's beautiful eyes were overflowing with ruthlessness. Why would you rather help an outsider and go against this queen? The expression on Xiao Yinyan's handsome face didn't change. His gaze was also calm, and not a hint of emotion could be seen. You are Princess Yulu, the Empyrean lady of Without Embroiling City. He paused, raised his eyes and stared straight into Xiao Yulu's. I'm not going against Princess Yulu. I'm just speaking the truth. You. Xiao Yulu was so angry that her face turned red. She pointed at Xiao Yinyan with clenched teeth, and her eyes reddened. Yu Jiwen foolishly looked at Xiao Yinyan's face that was as handsome as a god, lightly bit her lower lip, and said with a wrong tone. Big brother Yinyan. Even if Sister Yulu is the Empyrean fairy of Without Embroiling City, her original identity was still the second daughter of the Qiao family, your biological sister. Are you going to stand in front of her and help those who want to deal with her and criticize her? Listening to such accusations, Xiao Yinyan didn't even bat an eyelid. He glanced sideways at the man behind him. A strand of silver hair fluttered on his handsome face. It made his black eyes shine even brighter. I didn't see Brother Pei deal with Princess Yulu. I also didn't blame Princess Yulu. His voice was very calm, and he was merely stating the facts. The reason why I'm standing here is because I've always seen the overbearing person being you. Xiao Yulu was swept by his gaze. His face immediately turned green and white. She clenched her fists tightly, her fingers leaving circles of marks on her palms. Big brother, am I that kind of person in your eyes? Her voice was still a little choked. Paired with the white gauze, it made her look even more pitiful. You know best what kind of person he is. Xiao Yinyan had no intention of leaving Xiao Yulu any face. Xiao Yulu gritted her teeth and her body tensed up. She was so angry that she was trembling. There were already many citizens gathered around to watch the treasure gathering. And her arrival. This caused more citizens to gather over. The drama had just happened during the day. Now there was a good show to watch. The citizens, who didn't have any entertainment after dinner, naturally rushed here without stopping. In front of almost 80% of the citizens, Xiao Yulu was completely embarrassed by Xiao Yulu's words. Seeing this, Yu Jiwen's face turned red. She grabbed Xiao Yulu's arm and glared at Xiao Yinyan with red eyes. Big brother Yinyan, you've never been like this before. Big sister Yulu is your younger sister, and she just returned to Without Embroiling City today. Yet, instead of staying at the Qiao clan to welcome big sister Yulu, you came to the treasure gathering hall, and you even spoke so harshly to big sister Yulu, completely disregarding the relationship between the two of you as siblings. You. She raised her trembling hand and pointed at Xiao Yinyan as tears streamed down her face. Have you fallen for that B***tch? In order to please that bitch, you became like this. What was I like before? How was it now? What does this have to do with you? Xiao Yinyan glanced at Yu Jiwen indifferently. Don't speak as if you know me very well. Third miss you, I'm not familiar with you at all. It's not up to an outsider like you to interfere in the affairs of the Qiao clan. His voice paused slightly, and his ink-black eyes slightly darkened. Chapter 35-30. Yu Jiwen's eyes widened as she looked at Xiao Yinyan in shock. It was as if she couldn't believe that Xiao Yinyan would say such ruthless words. Tears rolled down her cheeks. Yu Jiwen lowered her head and didn't dare to say anything else. Xiao Yulu glared at Yu Jiwen and cursed her inwardly. Then, she pushed Yu Jiwen's hand away and stared at Xiao Yinyan coldly. Big brother, since you're so heartless that you won't even acknowledge me as your sister for that girl, then don't blame me for not giving you face. Xiao Yinyan frowned. What do you want to do? I don't want to do anything. Xiao Yulu's eyes were cold, and her expression was ruthless. I just want to teach the owner of the treasures exchange, Pei Sheng, a lesson. She pointed a slender finger at Pei Sheng and said word by word, Pei Sheng, I'll give you two choices. First, get over here right now and kneel on the ground to admit that the treasures exchange broke the bet. Second, I'll smash the treasures exchange right now. Princess Yu. Lu. Xiao Yinyan's face darkened when he heard those arrogant words. You're Without Embroiling City's Empyrean Fairy. You represent Without Embroiling City. Aren't you afraid of losing the face of Without Embroiling City by being so arrogant and willful? You're the first young master of the Qiao family, a genius with all kinds of honors in Without Embroiling City. If you're willing to disregard family ties for a girl you've just met, why should I be afraid? Xiao Yulu sneered and didn't waste any more words with Xiao Yinyan. She stared coldly at Pei Sheng with a burning gaze. He swiftly raised his palm and smashed it down towards Pei Sheng. That palm strike was completely different from the one that Xiao Yinyan had blocked earlier. The girl's white dress was blown away. The surging wave was like a tidal wave, carrying with it a boundless killing intent. Xiao Yinyan's expression changed drastically. He quickly pulled Pei Sheng over and thrust his palm toward Xiao Yulu. That palm strike created a shockwave that was extremely violent. The wave of air that it created was like a raging wave that tore through the air. The surrounding citizens spat out mouthfuls of blood and flew backward, falling heavily to the ground. Some of the weaker ones even fainted. Xiao Yinyan hurriedly retracted his palm and looked at the fallen citizens with a livid expression. He glared at Xiao Yulu and said, How much longer are you going to make a scene? This isn't the Ling Long Hall, it's not a place where you can mess around. If these citizens die, it will be your fault. Xiao Yulu sneered. If you don't want the citizens to get hurt again, then move aside and let this empress smash treasure gathering. Xiao Yinyan gritted his teeth. I didn't expect you to become like this. Xiao Yulu raised her chin proudly. Everything I do is for Without Embroiling City. Big brother, this consort will ask you one last time, are you going to move or not? Xiao Yinyan clenched his fists tightly. His body tensed up because of the atmosphere, and his muscles were firm. He glared at Xiao Yulu with his dark eyes. Brother Xiao. Pei Sheng's face was pale. He put a hand on Xiao Yinyan's arm. You can't fight anymore. The citizens will get hurt. He turned his head and looked at the treasure-gathering exchange behind him. His eyes reddened involuntarily. He clenched his fists and said in a low, hoarse voice, We can't let her smash treasure-gathering either. This is not only the brand that I've guarded for 5 years, it's also the blood, sweat, and tears of Ah Luo and us. Chapter 35-31. I choose the first option, kneel, admit the violation of the bet, and accept the punishment. Only in this way could they prevent the citizens from getting hurt, and protect the treasure's trading house. But, once he admitted it, he might. Pei Sheng lowered his head and clenched his fists even tighter. Are you crazy? Xiao Yinyan grabbed Pei Sheng's shoulder. Her goal is to force you to admit that the treasure's trading house violated the bet. In this way, she will win the bet between her and Ah Luo. Pei Sheng's face was pale, and his whole body was stiff. Xiao Yinyan pulled him back and looked at Xiao Yulu with an unfriendly expression. You are the Empyrean Fairy of Without Embroiling City. Do you think you are qualified to be the Empyrean Fairy if you don't care about the citizens' lives? His brows were tightly knitted. The expression on his face was covered with frost. Xiao Yulu only sneered. Big Brother also said that I am the Empyrean fairy of Without Embroiling City. In Without Embroiling City, I can do whatever I want. Besides, it's the honor of the citizens to sacrifice their lives for this empress. Her words caused the faces of the citizens to change. They stared at Xiao Yulu in disbelief. They couldn't believe that their Empyrean fairy would say something so irresponsible. You are simply... Xiao Yinyan's breathing quickened, his chest rising and falling. He could no longer describe Xiao Yulu's selfishness and arrogance. Xiao Yulu snorted arrogantly, her red lips burning under her veil. Big Brother, let's continue. I also want to see the strength of a young genius. She slid down. The flames on her body surged again. A hurricane-like attack fell again. Xiao Yinyan instinctively activated the dark force in his body, wanting to fight back. But his gaze fell on the citizens who had fallen to the ground. His counterattack paused for a moment. It was just a momentary pause. Xiao Yulu's violent dark force had already blasted over. Amidst the white light, it reflected Xiao Yulu's smug smile. Xiao Yinyan's face paled. He gritted his teeth and stood still, planning to take this attack for Pei Sheng. Just then. Bang! A deep explosion sounded in the air. That ferocious attack was forcibly intercepted in midair. Immediately after, the attack dissipated in midair like smoke. Not a single trace was left behind. A slender figure appeared in midair where the profound strength had dissipated. The girl's light purple dress fluttered like a butterfly's wings. A white veil covered her beautiful face. In her hand, there was a fan that looked like a raging flame. On the fan, there was clearly a visible fluctuation of profound strength, which was spreading out in all directions. Xiao Yinyan's eyes were filled with shock when he saw the scene before him. The surrounding citizens were also stunned by this shocking and surprising scene. Everyone's gaze was fixed on the slender figure that had suddenly appeared. How is this possible? Xiao Yulu took 2 steps back in shock. How could you possibly break through my power? She was able to successfully carve out a place for herself among thousands of women in the Linglong Palace and successfully climb to the position of the mysterious fairy. It was enough to prove her strength. Even the other 2 Empyrean fairies wouldn't dare to guarantee that they would be able to easily break through her attack. But the girl in front of them did it. Chapter 35-32. When did the treasure gathering violate the bet? Why didn't I know about it? The young lady's clear and melodious voice was pleasant to listen to. That light purple dress fluttered, dazzling one's eyes. Yiqing Luo's feet landed steadily in front of Xiao Yinyan. Her hair, which was not tied up or tied up, was hanging down loosely. Her long and narrow eyes curved slightly, outlining the outline of a demonic arc. The white veil covered half of her face. The young lady's pink lips could be vaguely seen, adding some mysterious demonic charm to the young lady. You. Xiao Yulu's sight was instantly attracted by the young lady in front. Her face suddenly darkened. The bottom of her eyes gathered a whirlpool which couldn't be dispersed. Everyone could see that. Although the young lady was wearing a veil, covering half of her face. But even so, it couldn't cover up the young lady's gorgeous beauty. Especially. She was also wearing a veil. When the 2 of them stood together, she was instantly suppressed by a few levels. Originally she was still considered a beauty of the generation, with an ethereal air. After comparing with the young lady in front of her, she had completely become a foil. This knowledge made Xiao Yulu's 5 fingers suddenly clenched into a fist. Princess. Kai Dai, who was next to her, when she saw that person, her expression changed slightly. It's her. At that time on the way back to the Qiao family, the little beggar. At that time, I felt that this young lady's eyes looked like a fox, so I let the old maid who followed the princess from Linglong Palace bring her to the alley, to secretly settle it, but this young lady, not only did she not die, but also extremely arrogantly jumped around, sowing enmity with Princess Yulu. In the afternoon, after Kai Dai heard about the bet, she specially went to the alley where the old maid left, to confirm whether that young lady was the little beggar she saw earlier. When she reached the alley, what she found were the two old maids' corpses. According to the situation at the scene, that was two old maids killing each other, causing both of them to die. But Kai Dai thought, it must be that young lady who did it. Useless thing. Xiao Yulu regained her senses, and gave Kai Dai a slap on the face. Kai Dai was sent flying, but she still struggled to climb up, kneeling on the ground. It's this servant's fault, it's this servant's fault. Princess, please calm your anger, don't harm your body. Xiao Yulu vented all the resentment in her stomach on this slap. As soon as Kai Dai opened her mouth, she spat out mouthfuls of blood. However, Kai Dai still didn't care. He kept kowtowing and apologizing. Fresh blood stained the ground beneath her. If you want to put on this kind of master-servant drama, do it in your Qiao family. Don't pollute the air in front of the treasure-gathering exchange hall. Yi Qing Luo sneered as her pink lips curled up, her eyes filled with contempt. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you've hooked onto this consort's big brother. Xiao Yulu gritted her teeth as she stared furiously at Yi Qing Luo. You dare to say that you didn't go against our bet? Of course I dare. Yi Qing Luo opened her mouth without any hesitation, as she lazily raised the corners of her eyes. Mysterious Maiden didn't allow any explanation and rushed to the treasure gathering, beating and scolding, and even wanted to make a move on the treasure gathering's boss, forcefully demolishing the treasure gathering. She raised her wrist. Her fair slender fingers gently pressed against her lower jaw. The auction has yet to officially start. Mysterious Maiden couldn't wait to find trouble. Could it be that she felt that she would definitely lose and wanted to find a way out for herself? As she said that, she clicked her tongue. Chapter 35-33. TSK. Even if Mysterious Maiden loses this bet, at most you just have to kneel down and shout that you're a waste. This isn't painful or itchy and you won't lose a few kilograms of flesh. She sighed again. I'm not like you. If you lose, you'll lose your entire person. Following that, she raised her head again. Her long and narrow eyes looked at Xiao Yulu with sincerity as she spoke in a considerate manner. Since Mysterious Maiden can't afford to lose, then I'll reluctantly let you off. This bet, let's call it off. From the start to the end, Yi Qing Luo didn't give Xiao Yulu's side any chance to speak. She continued talking on her own. Xiao Yulu's face twisted. Looking at Xiao Yulu's malevolent face which couldn't even be concealed by the veil, Yi Qing Luo started to laugh unkindly. The feeling of occasionally being a flourishing white lotus wasn't bad at all. Especially this kind of disgusting smile and then looking at the other party, being disgusted till she couldn't rebuke, it was simply too satisfying. What are you hinting at? Xiao Yulu bellowed angrily, this lady can't afford to lose. It's obviously you who have violated the bet between us. You've already lost. Yi Qing Luo tilted her head as she blinked. Did I hint at anything? Mysterious Maiden must be feeling guilty, so you're thinking too much. Her words came to a halt as her smile suddenly froze on her face. Her pair of long and narrow eyes became sharp and fierce. Her entire aura, at this moment, was suddenly unleashed. Mysterious Maiden keeps saying that I've violated the bet, then. Will Mysterious Maiden please explain clearly, how did I violate the bet, causing Mysterious Maiden to personally come over to the Treasures Exchange Hall, wanting to demolish the place, and to make a move on Pei Sheng. Her sharp aura caused people to be frightened. If Mysterious Maiden is unable to give a suitable reason, I will definitely pursue the matter of Mysterious Maiden coming over to the Treasures Exchange Hall today. Xiao Yulu's expression turned sinister because of Yi Qing Luo's words, as she forcefully wiped out that immortal qi in her body. Standing in front of Yi Qing Luo, facing her who had unleashed her aura, that was even more inconspicuous. Xiao Yulu's expression turned even uglier. Everything that was happening right now was completely different from the life she had imagined after returning to Without Embroiling City. This was the first day she had returned to Without Embroiling City as the Empyrean Fairy. He would become a laughing stock. Her prestige had been completely destroyed in an instant. All of this was because of that bitch. Xiao Yulu stared fiercely at Yi Qing Luo as her beautiful eyes were filled with murderous intent. The bet between us. You had personally agreed that the items auctioned in the treasure-gathering trading hall's auction, Hell Palace and Xiao family will absolutely not interfere. She raised her hand and pointed angrily at Xiao Yinyan. But, you seduced my older brother and attempted to use him to seize the honor of being the best trading house this time. The fact that this consort's older brother is in the treasures-gathering exchange is the best evidence. When Yi Qing Luo heard that, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. Mysterious maiden, is there a hole in your brain? Let's not talk about the fact that the Qiao family couldn't interfere in our bet, right? Let's just say that Yin Yen is here. He didn't provide any auction items from treasure gathering, nor did he provide a single crystal stone from treasure gathering, so how can he be considered to have interfered in our bet? Her gaze swept past the citizens who were crowding around. Her gaze fell onto several citizens who had fainted on the ground. Chapter 35-34. This was also the reason why Yi Qing Luo started from the beginning. The reason why she only let Xiao Yinyan do the manual work. It was to prevent Xiao Yulu from finding excuses to act shamelessly. But Yi Qing Luo really didn't expect this. The auction hadn't even started yet. Xiao Yulu couldn't wait to rush over. TSK. She really didn't know this kind of brain. How did she become Without Embroiling City's mysterious maiden? Or could it be that Xiao Yulu was afraid of her from the bottom of her heart? So once she found an opportunity, she immediately wanted to deal with her, in case she gave her a chance to develop? Yi Qing Luo's long and narrow eyes curved. If mysterious maiden can't afford to lose and wants to find an excuse to disrupt the bet between us, then she should find a better reason. Slut. Don't keep saying that I can't afford to lose and pour dirty water on me. Do you think I don't know your dirty thoughts? Xiao Yulu flew into a rage out of humiliation. Yi Qing Luo's eyes were cold as she crossed her arms over her chest. Her brows seemed to be covered with a layer of frost. Who is the one splashing dirty water? Who is the one with dirty thoughts? Everyone can see it clearly. She raised her chin slightly. The veil was attached to her lower jaw. The lines were soft and the outline was soft. One could almost imagine what kind of beauty the young lady had under the veil. The young lady's eyes were still half closed and her expression was lazy, giving off a kind of arrogant feeling, as if she didn't put Xiao Yulu in her eyes. You're still quibbling. Xiao Yulu was so angry that she lost all rationality from Yi Qing Luo's attitude. She could even feel that the eyes of the surrounding citizens were filled with disdain and contempt as they looked at her. It shouldn't be like this. She should be high and mighty, enjoying everyone's admiration. Xiao Yulu's eyes were red and her gloomy eyes were filled with a cold murderous intent. Slut. I want to kill you, slut. She roared as her figure moved swiftly and her entire body burst out in flames. That strong flame almost caused the surrounding air to fall into a crack. Even the citizens could see with their naked eyes the ripples in the air. Wherever the chi wave went, there was a huge explosion. The citizens' faces turned pale. Their bodies felt like they were being crushed by a heavy mountain. The 5 viscera and 6 bowels in his chest were being squeezed by an invisible force. Therefore, it was said that one had to be cautious when reading gossip. If one was not careful, they might accidentally get into trouble. Xiao Yulu. Seeing this, Xiao Yinyan anxiously roared Xiao Yulu's name. His face darkened. Do you really want to turn Without Embroiling City into a mess before you stop? Xiao Yinyan glared at Xiao Yulu. He took a big step forward and was about to release his dark force to force Xiao Yulu back. Just as he took a step, his shoulder was gently pressed by a small hand. Yin, her target is me. The young girl pressed down on his shoulder and slowly walked past him. Facing the raging hurricane and the terrifying airwave, she walked straight ahead. That clear and melodious voice reverberated in his ears. Xiao Yin's pupils instantly contracted. His fingers reflexively tried to grab the girl in front of him. But the moment he stretched out his hand, the girl had already walked a few steps away. His hand grabbed nothing but air. Luo. You're not her. Xiao Yin's urgent voice came to an abrupt halt. Because, he saw the moment the girl's figure merged into the hurricane that Xiao Yulu had created. He saw the girl suddenly raise her leg and kick Xiao Yulu's abdomen. She was as fast as lightning. And the kick was very powerful. Chapter 35-35. Bam! A loud thud resounded, accompanied by Xiao Yulu's screams. Xiao Yulu landed heavily on the ground. There was even a shallow pit on the ground. Xiao Yulu coughed violently and spat out mouthfuls of blood. Yiqing Luo slowly retracted her leg and tilted her head, her eyes curved. Since you want to fight, why bother with so many fancy moves? Isn't it obvious that you are just standing there waiting for me to beat you? Xiao Yulu was so angry that her chest hurt even more when she heard this, and blood kept surging up. She opened her mouth several times, but all she spat out was a mouthful of blood. Xiao Yin, he really didn't know what kind of expression to use to face this matter. He originally thought that Luo wouldn't be Princess Yulu's opponent at all. Unexpectedly, Luo would take advantage of the time when Princess Yulu was still releasing her profound energy to directly kick her. Well, what Luo said did make sense. On the battlefield, the enemy wouldn't wait for you to release your profound energy. They would set up their formation and then fight with you openly. Lass, you are too valiant. Even Old Man Song in the Azure Dew bracelet was shocked by Yiqing Luo's actions. Old Man Song expressed that no matter where his daughter went, she would always be awesome. His heart was so tired. This realm couldn't be compared to Nirvana realm. Yiqing Luo's strength was indeed not the top in the realm. Especially when facing Xiao Yulu. Xiao Yulu could become without embroiling city's mysterious fairy and dare to challenge the 15th grade sage profound genius Xiao Yin, which was enough to show that her strength was not below Xiao Yin. But Yiqing Luo's actions, Old Man Song couldn't help but facepalm. If there were any accidents, that Dizun brat would definitely tear his old bones apart with his bare hands. I'm not stupid, of course I have to take advantage of her arrogance and reveal a flaw to directly deal a heavy blow. If I don't break her chi, when she really starts to fight, I will be dead meat. Yiqing Luo curled her lips. She naturally knew the gap between her and Xiao Yulu's strength. It was also because of Xiao Yulu's confidence. She had to show how powerful her strength was. Creating all kinds of hurricanes, pressure, profound waves, etc. to set off. Only then would she have the chance to destroy Xiao Yulu's pretentious act with a kick. It wasn't that she was tough, but rather that she was sinister. He could only blame Xiao Yulu for being silly. Bitch! How dare you attack Princess Yulu? Do you know what Princess Yulu represents? You. The city lord will definitely not let you off. Yu Jiwen rushed to Xiao Yulu's side and supported her. Yiqing Luo curled her lips lazily. Remember this well, my name is Di Luo, and I'm now a partner of the conglomerate exchange. If you still have such a cheap mouth, I don't mind teaching you some manners. Yu Jiwen's eyes were filled with rage as she stared at Yiqing Luo, but she didn't dare to say the word slut. In the morning, she had already suffered a huge loss in Yiqing Luo's hands. She still remembered that feeling. She was relying on Xiao Yulu. And now, Xiao Yulu had fallen. What should she do? Yu Jiwen was angry, but towards Yiqing Luo, she had an instinctive fear. While she was cowering, she suddenly caught a glimpse of a figure in the crowd. Chapter 35-36. What nonsense are you talking about? Pei Xing's face turned pale. Third miss you, what are you thinking? How dare you slander Ah Luo? Am I not speaking the truth? I think you've colluded with people from other cities to betray without embroiling city. Yu Jiwen roared coldly. All these years, Pei Xing had been silently enduring all the abuse, suspicion, and accusations. Faced with Yu Jiwen's accusation, he didn't know how to deal with it. His face was red, full of humiliation and anger. You're slandering me. Enough. What's with the noise? A calm and majestic voice came from the crowd. Immediately, Castellan Lu, dressed in a luxurious robe, strode over. Castellan Lu's face was livid, and his eyebrows were full of anger. What's going on? Why are they fighting again? Yu Jiwen cried out as soon as she saw Castellan Lu. Castellan Lu, look at Sister Yulu. She wants to kill her. Castellan Lu's gaze fell on Xiao Yulu, who was lying in Yu Jiwen's arms and vomiting blood. His expression changed drastically. What happened to Princess Yulu? Who dared to hurt her like this? Quick! Someone, bring Princess Yulu to Without Wang Medical Hall. He directly ignored the her Yu Jiwen mentioned. A large group of people behind him squeezed forward to carry Xiao Yulu. At the forefront was a man in his 20s, dressed in luxurious robes. He stared at Xiao Yulu with naked lust. The man was about to carry Xiao Yulu from Yu Jiwen's arms. But he was stopped by a pair of hands. Thank you for your concern, young master. The princess is only used to being served by this servant. This servant can support the princess. Kai Dai was one step ahead of him and directly held Xiao Yulu in her arms. The man's expression immediately changed, and he was just about to speak. He was about to speak when Castellan Lu interrupted him. Kai Dai, I'll have to trouble you. Then, he looked at the man. Tian Che, why don't you lead the way for Kai Dai? The man called Tian Che looked a little pale. After exchanging glances with City Lord Lu, he gritted his teeth and strode out of the crowd. City Lord Lu ignored him and looked around angrily. Princess Yu Lu is the Empyrean Lady of Without Embroiling City. She represents Without Embroiling City. Who was it that injured Princess Yu Lu so badly? Are they looking down on Without Embroiling City? His eyes were like torches as he pointed around. Speak. Who is it? The citizens who were still conscious lowered their heads, not daring to speak. All of them shrank their necks and lowered their presence. He was afraid that he would be singled out by City Lord Lu for questioning. Finally, City Lord Lu looked at Xiao Yinyan. His voice softened a little, but his face was still filled with rage. Young Master Xiao, do you know who it is? How dare he attack Princess Yu Lu in Without Embroiling City? This person is definitely targeting Without Embroiling City. Xiao Yinyan's face darkened. His black eyes were as deep as ink as he stared at City Lord Lu. Yiqing Luo, who had been watching the show for a long time, felt that City Lord Lu's acting was not bad. Especially the part where he lied through his teeth and scolded indirectly. His acting couldn't be any more realistic. He was totally acting as himself. City Lord Lu probably knew about the situation here long ago. Now he was pretending to be completely unaware. Chapter 35-37. Was he trying to make use of the citizens' public opinion to target her? If it was any other time, this method might really work. But unfortunately, Xiao Yulu had already dug her own grave earlier. It was only the first day since she returned to Without Embroiling City. She hadn't gained enough favorable impression points in front of the citizens. She hadn't done anything that would make the citizens remember her in their hearts, touching them for a lifetime. She started to dig her own grave. The citizens didn't have any favorable impression towards this mysterious fairy. So how would she possibly react to City Lord Lu's hint? Would you be willing to follow a boss who treated you like an ant and didn't care about your life at all? No one was willing to be under someone else. Those who were willing to be under someone else was only because the other party had something that was worth it. Xiao Yulu didn't care about their lives. She even felt that even if they were to die, it would be their honor. Honor? Hee, her face was filled with honor. They only wanted to live, not this honor. Because of this, no matter what Lord Lu was brainwashing them passionately, the citizens all kept a straight face and lowered their heads. Not willing to talk to City Lord Lu. Not daring to talk to him. Looking at City Lord Lu's gradually darkening face. Yiqing Luo crossed her arms and touched her chin with the other hand. The veil stuck to her contours and her eyes were filled with evilness. This City Lord Lu's ambition wasn't small. If she didn't see wrongly. That man who looked to be in his 20s and had regular facial features but exuded a sense of lust should be City Lord Lu's son. She specially paid attention to him earlier. That man and City Lord Lu's brows had some similarities. TSK. Knowing that there was a difference between a man and a woman. City Lord Lu even asked his son to carry Xiao Yulu to the medical hall in front of the citizens. Sima Zhao's intention was known to everyone. This City Lord Lu actually wanted Xiao Yulu to be his daughter-in-law. Under the watchful eyes of the public. Xiao Yulu was hugged intimately by City Lord Lu's son. Xiao Yulu's reputation would be completely ruined. Her life would be hung with Lu Tianche's name. Other than marrying Lu Tianche, she had no other choice. But the maid beside Xiao Yulu was quick-witted. However, if City Lord Lu wanted to, he was afraid that a maid wouldn't be able to stop his plan. If Xiao Yulu really got together with City Lord Lu's son, he felt that this show was quite exciting. Yiqing Luo mischievously thought. Young Master Xiao. City Lord Lu, who had not received a response for a long time, had a livid expression on his face. He abruptly shouted. Yiqing Luo regained her senses from the shock. Xiao Yinyan knitted his brows tightly. He had naturally guessed City Lord Lu's motive. He was about to speak. The girl's clear and melodious voice came from behind him. City Lord Lu, you've come at the right time. I just happen to have something to discuss with you. Yiqing Luo slowly walked to the front of City Lord Lu as her long and narrow eyes curved slightly, smiling faintly at City Lord Lu. Seeing Yiqing Luo at such a close distance, City Lord Lu's pupils obviously contracted several times. Apparently he was astonished by Yiqing Luo's breathtaking beauty and her extraordinary temperament. However, he quickly adjusted his expression and said, Miss D, what can I do for you? Yiqing Luo raised her brows. TSK, he had been exposed again. If City Lord Lu didn't know what had happened here, then it was impossible for him to know that her surname was D. Chapter 35-38. City Lord Lu's lips curled into a smile. The bet between Miss D and Princess Yu Lu was just a verbal explanation and there weren't any clear rules. He paused as his smile became even more refined. Miss D mentioned breaking the bet rules. We have to see which part of the rules are broken. Yiqing Luo. Sly old fox. He actually played word games with her in such a serious and shameless manner. No wonder in the 21st century, everything had to be written clearly in black and white. So angry, but she still had to maintain her smile. Yiqing Luo smiled. Mysterious maiden brought people to the treasure gathering to create trouble, shouting to beat and kill, and even smashing the treasure exchange hall. Isn't that considered breaking the bet rules? City Lord Lu smiled as he looked at the treasure exchange hall and looked at Pei Sheng. Boss Pei isn't injured and the treasure exchange hall isn't smashed. This city lord cannot just rely on Miss D's one-sided words and suspect Princess Yu Lu. Yiqing Luo. This ability to lie through one's teeth was really awesome. Yiqing Luo was able to maintain her composure when she heard this. But Pei Sheng couldn't hold it in. What one-sided words? I'm not injured and the treasure exchange wasn't smashed. That's because Ah Luo protected me and the treasure exchange. You want evidence, isn't it? Look over there. Pei Xing pointed to the surroundings, at those commoners who were injured because of Xiao Yu Lu. There were at least 100 of them lying on the ground. There were quite a number of them who were sitting weakly on the ground. Those people were injured by Princess Yu Lu. They are the witnesses. Pei Xing's eyes widened as he gritted his teeth in anger. City Lord Lu only swept a glance as his smile remained unchanged. Really? He smiled as he looked at the commoners as he casually raised his hand. A guard casually grabbed a commoner and brought him over. The injuries on your body, who injured you? Is it Princess Yu Lu? City Lord Lu smiled as he looked at the commoners as he asked. The commoners' pupils dilated as their faces turned pale. Their eyes subconsciously looked towards Yiqing Luo's direction. Just one look. Before they could express the emotions in their eyes, their bodies suddenly felt a sharp pain. The commoners cried out in pain as they looked at City Lord Lu in terror. No. Not Princess Yu Lu. Then who is it? Lord Lu looked at Yiqing Luo meaningfully. The citizens' faces turned even paler. However, even under the intense pain, the citizen still said in a hoarse voice, "This commoner hurt himself." Governor Lu's face sank slightly. Just as he was about to speak, a fragrant scent entered his nose. The girl's figure had unknowingly approached him. Yiqing Luo's slender hand was placed on that citizen's body. His fingers moved slightly. The citizens had already broken free from the suppression of the guards. Yiqing Luo supported the citizens as she calmly raised her eyes. Does City Lord Lu think I'm an idiot, or do you think I'm easy to bully just because I'm alone? You threatened the citizens in front of me and even wanted to smear my name. I don't know if the Empyrean Fairy will be grateful to you for scheming on her behalf. Her tone was full of sarcasm. Her long and narrow eyes were slightly raised. Amidst the coquettishness, there was a frightening cold glint. That gaze sent chills down Lord Lu's spine. He frowned and subconsciously took a step back. The expression on his face froze awkwardly. Chapter 35-39. City Lord Lu better be clear that the reason why I agreed to this so-called bet is because of the Qiao family. She asked Pei Xing to help the injured citizens down as she walked straight towards City Lord Lu. Getting close to him, bringing along an oppressive pressure. City Lord Lu took another step back. A sliver of fear flashed past his steely green face. This young lady. Her aura was so strong to such an extent. Seeing the young lady getting closer, his entire body emitted a chilly intent. Just as she was one step away from City Lord Lu, Yiqing Luo stopped in her tracks as she raised her head slightly. A pair of crafty eyes, as deep as a lake, was locked onto City Lord Lu. City Lord Lu, you know that I am a guest of the Hell Palace. To be able to get to know the Hell Palace means that I am not a normal person. Her lips curled slightly as her voice was chilly. If you force me into a corner, I don't mind bringing the Hell Palace to play around in without embroiling City. Anyway, this so-called bet is just a verbal explanation and there are no actual rules, so I can totally ignore it. Her voice paused slightly. Her long and narrow eyes curved into an arc, looking even more devilish. You know, when the Hell Palace's people go crazy, there's no way to stop them. You can try and see if the Ling Long Palace will lend a helping hand. You. City Lord Lu's face flushed red as he recalled the Hell Palace's senior who listened to Yiqing Luo's every word. All his anger was suppressed deep in his heart. This young lady was really vengeful. Using what he said, she returned it back to him. Unfortunately, the powerhouse behind her was the Hell Palace, which no one dared to offend. City Lord Lu's face was steely green. What do you want? I give Mysterious Maiden 2 choices. Yiqing Luo smiled as she raised one finger. First, Mysterious Maiden goes against the rules of the bet, which can be considered as losing the bet between us in advance. She admits defeat and does what she promised me. Make Xiao Yulu kneel down and shout 3 times that she was a waste. This was impossible. City Lord Lu pursed his lips as his face turned steely green. And the second choice? Second. Yiqing Luo raised up a finger once again. Mysterious maiden will apologize for slandering Pei Sheng and slandering the treasures today, and guarantee that before the auction, she will not commit any more mistakes. This bet, I will be merciful. And continue to bet with her. Let Xiao Yulu apologize? That was impossible. How could Xiao Yulu choose between these two options? He seemed to have seen through City Lord Lu's thoughts. Yiqing Luo kindly reminded, if Mysterious Maiden hasn't given a choice by tomorrow morning, then I shall be merciful and help her make the third choice, which is what I said earlier. Let the seniors from Hell Palace come to Without Embroiling City and enjoy City Lord Lu's hospitality. Yiqing Luo expressed that she was using her power to bully others. While Old Lai was not here, it felt good to use Old Lai's name to intimidate others. As expected. When she said the third option, it was too late. City Lord Lu's eyes were ignited with anger as his steely green face stared at Yiqing Luo in shock. As though he couldn't wait to skin Yiqing Luo alive. Yiqing Luo shrugged her shoulders indifferently. City Lord Lu better go back and discuss with Mysterious Maiden first. Don't show such a scary look, as though I've bullied you. Her slender fingers touched the corner of her lips as she covered her mouth and gave a light laugh. The veil was like a thin wing, which was even nicer to look at with her creamy fingers. Chapter 35-40. City Lord Lu was so infuriated that his entire body was tensed up, his fists were clenched so tightly that his veins were popping out. His chest was heaving up and down violently. I will pass on your words to Princess Yu Lu without missing a single word. Remember, it's tomorrow morning. Yiqing Luo beamed as she repeated with a heavy tone. City Lord Lu turned around and was about to leave. Yiqing Luo continued to smile. City Lord Lu, wait a minute. What else do you want? City Lord Lu paused in his footsteps as he gritted his teeth and squeezed out a sentence. He was obviously infuriated. He didn't even turn his head back. Yiqing Luo didn't care about City Lord Lu's emotions as she pointed to the side where the citizens were lying on the ground. As Without Embroiling City Lord, shouldn't you be responsible for the citizens' injuries? City Lord Lu turned around abruptly as he stared angrily at Yiqing Luo. Since I'm sitting in this position, then I should be responsible for it. Yiqing Luo met his vengeful gaze indifferently. All your glory now comes from your citizens. If anything happens to them, you as the City Lord will not be able to escape the blame. City Lord Lu clenched his teeth as his lips moved. In the end, he didn't say a single word. City Lord Lu. Xiao Yinyan walked out from behind Yiqing Luo. I feel that what Luo said is right. Since you're the City Lord of Without Embroiling City, then you should be responsible for the citizens' safety. His brows sunk as he gave off a threatening cold intent. City Lord Lu, the citizens' injuries are related to me, so I hope City Lord can take good care of them. My Qiao family will also send someone to take care of them. But I have something to say first. He paused slightly as his brows grew fiercer. If anything happens to these citizens, my Qiao family will blame it on City Lord. I hope City Lord will take good care of them. Young Master Qiao, are you threatening me? City Lord Lu's face sunk as his eyes turned cold. He was being berated and threatened by two juniors while pointing at his nose. City Lord Lu felt as if his face had been pressed against the wall and slapped by these two juniors. Xiao Yinyan's expression remained unchanged. I don't dare to, I'm just reminding you. Good. Good. Very good. It's great that the Qiao family has a kind-hearted young master like you. City Lord Lu pointed at Xiao Yinyan and sneered. After that, he flicked his sleeve forcefully, turned around, and charged out of the crowd. The surrounding citizens looked at Lord Lu's back as he left. He looked at Yiqing Luo and Xiao Yinyan fearfully. Don't worry, the City Lord will immediately arrange for people to take care of you, Xiao Yinyan comforted. What the citizens had experienced today had completely overturned the worldview that they had lived with for so many years. The Empyrean fairy of Without Embroiling City didn't care about their lives at all. The city lord of Without Embroiling City didn't care about them at all. On the contrary, that girl called Di Luo and young Master Qiao would bear the pressure of offending the Castellan and falling out with him for the sake of their safety. Upon hearing Xiao Yinyan's words of consolation, the citizens' resentment towards City Lord Lu and Xiao Yulu deepened. Yiqing Luo asked Pei Xing to help Xiao Yinyan to take care of those commoners before the doctors arrived. This was also a way to build a good impression. Moreover, Pei Xing's character was more sincere. Although the citizens' attitude towards Pei Xing was usually full of sarcasm and ridicule, totally not showing any good expressions, you're tuning in to the Dreamy Love Stories YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.